Hey, wellness warriors. Do you fill your day with busy, low priority tasks? Or maybe you complete the easiest tasks first, but never really get to the important stuff? Or maybe tasks stay on your to-do list for a really long time. So maybe, you don't get something done one day, so it goes on the next day's list, and then the next day's list, and then the next day's list, and it just seems to be on there forever, sort of hanging over your head. Or maybe you have other people actually putting things on your to do list. And so they're kind of driving your schedule and driving what you end up doing. And the important things you'd like to get done really never get done. Or maybe you feel like you have to wait until you're just in the right mood or just the right time strikes you before you get started or before you'll take any action. Like maybe you've had cleaning out your closet on your to-do list for a really long time, but you just feel like unless I can get this all done in one day, which let's be real, that's probably never going to happen because it's a pretty big job. But unless you can get it all into one day, it's like, why bother even starting? Does this sound like you? Well, my guess is you're watching this because you're likely struggling with procrastination. And while it can feel good in the moment, putting off tasks that we're dreading or we feel overwhelmed by, because we're able then to do something that's more enjoyable, like maybe go watching Homeland or even Tiger King. Hey, no judgments. But unfortunately, the vicious cycle of all of this all too well, because inevitably what happens is you're left feeling guilty, frustrated, even more overwhelmed. And now you're even more stressed because often there's deadlines maybe that are more quickly approaching, or maybe let's say your boss is upset with you because you've missed a deadline, or you're just not keeping your word. You're not doing what you're saying you're going to do. And so people sort of lose faith or lose some trust in you. And so it's this vicious cycle that you're really trying to get out of. So if this sounds like you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Laura Albers. I am the Clear Your Plate coach. I'm a mental health therapist, a master certified wellness coach with the International Association of Wellness Professionals, and owner of Albers Mind and Body Wellness. And in today's video, what I really want to share with you is a glimpse of my own journey with procrastination, because believe me, I have been there. And in fact, it's still a journey that I continue to be on. As for most things in our lives, it's a journey. And so some days are easier than others. But I do feel like I've definitely made some huge improvements, and I've learned a lot, and I put some really great strategies in place to really minimize and almost avoid procrastination as a whole. And I really want to share with you sort of my journey and then the fixes and the tips and the hacks and the strategies that I've learned along the way to help with these challenges that I had in regards to procrastination. So that's what I'm going to be sharing today. And I hope you find these tips really, really helpful. And then you can share with me, what you thought of the video and what you're going to start to implement. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing that I really kind of struggled with and that I really used to do in regards to procrastination is that I would put way too much on my list. Okay. I'm guessing you can probably relate to this as well. Like I would make a to-do list with over 20 items on it. And then often I would make a secondary to-do list with like maybe another 20 things. And I would seriously think I would get all of these things done in one day. Like I don't know anyone that can do all of that. So inevitably I would end up feeling, frustrated with myself, disappointed. I would be critical and kind of berate myself like, gosh, you didn't get all these things done. And it didn't matter how many other things I'd crossed off my list. So it didn't really matter that I did get a lot of things done. I focused on the things that I didn't get done. And so it was just really a frustrating experience. And so what I found for my fix sort of for this is a few things. Number one is I started doing what I call my motivated Monday morning meeting with myself. That's a mouthful. I call it my MMMM meeting. And so basically it's kind of self-explanatory, but this is a short meeting that I have with myself Monday mornings that I really identify the top 3 goals that I'm going to rock that week, and I write them down, and I have an awesome template that I use that actually I'm going to share with you guys in the comments below. So check that out. You can get these free productivity templates, or email me at laura@alberswellness.com, and you can totally get access and use these these templates for yourself. You can customize them and make them work for you. But I started using these templates to get really focused and honed in on exactly what I was working on that week to be really productive and to get the what I call the big rocks done in my business. So instead of spending so much time on all the busy work and things that really weren't moving the dial forward in my business, I began to really work on the things that actually, move my business forward. And so that was one of the things that I identified was on my motivated Monday morning meeting with myself is my top 3 goals that I'm gonna rock this week. And then at the end of each day, I would, sort of check off or list the steps that I took that week that made progress towards those 3 goals. So I was always very, very focused. So I didn't have, 40 to 60 things on my list. I really was focused on those top few things that I really needed to get done. All right, so that's one of the things that I used to sort of help with that. I also started my day with the most important thing. So I would start my day instead of, spending a lot of time on all this busy work or, running errands for the first hour and a half of my day. I started really focusing on the big rocks again and working maybe for 30 minutes to 45 minutes to maybe an hour on those things that were of kind of utmost importance. And then I really felt great and accomplished after that. The last thing that I did to sort of fix this, and it's a little bit similar to what I just said, but I focused on a daily highlight. And so daily highlight is something that's like, if you can think of it as like, if I was just to get one thing done today to feel super accomplished and to feel really like productive and happy and successful, what would that one thing be? And so for me, because it was during my workday, it was centered more around business. Obviously, you could do this around sort of your personal life or other goals that you might have. But for me, this is really focused more around my business. And so I identify what is the primary thing that I really want to get done today, or at least make a lot of progress towards. And depending on how much time I had that day, I might even set a daily highlight for the morning time and then a daily highlight for the afternoon time. So when I started really scheduling in time for my daily highlight, I found that I got so much more done and I was so much more productive, and I could kind of let go of that constant disappointment that I felt because I didn't have, 40 things on my to-do list. All right, so that's tip number 1 is really, the struggle that I had was really putting way too much on my to-do list. All right, number 2 is that I would get so easily distracted. Oh my goodness. I had shiny object syndrome like no tomorrow. I mean, everything would distract me, email notifications, social media, dings, like anything that would come in, I would just get distracted by it and I would want to check it out. But especially with email and even social media. Anytime I would see that I had gotten a new email or something like that, I would immediately stop whatever I was doing and go check that email and likely respond. I wouldn't always respond, but I would always at least take the time to read the emails. And so as you can imagine, that took up a huge chunk of my day because I would constantly be distracted. So my fix for that is I would close out all my email tabs. I would never leave any other tabs open other than the one tab, maybe 2 at the most, that I was actively working on. So everything else was closed out. I also moved my email and my social media apps on my phone. Instead of them being on the first page, like right when I opened my phone, so it was like the first thing I could see, I moved it to like the 3rd or 4th page. So I couldn't see right away if I had, emails that I hadn't read yet, or if I had social media notifications. In fact, I just turned those things off. So that really helped me to stay more focused and to just keep my eye on the prize, if you will. All right, so the third challenge that I sort of experienced around procrastination was that I focused way too much on the stuff that I didn't do or had yet to do. So I would, as I kind of said earlier, like at the end of a day, I could have gotten like 20 things done, but yet I would still see, 3 to 5 to 10 to 15 other things that I didn't get done. And that became my focus. And so again, I would feel super disappointed and frustrated and still yet overwhelmed by all these things that I still needed to get done. And so What I started to actually do is I started using an app called Trello, and many of you guys might use Trello or something similar. There's lots of different apps that you can use for this, but basically I would create my to-do list in Trello, and I would divide it up into different sort of categories, like my 4 chores, which was like kind of like those daily highlights or the top 3 goals I was going to rock that week. But another thing that I would do in Trello is I would make a stuff I got done list. And so everything that I got done for every single day of the week, once it was completed, I moved it into that stuff I got done list. And then Friday afternoons, I would sort of scroll through that whole list because I had sort of a record of everything that I had completed that week. And, the list would be hugely long. And I would be, I'd make sure to celebrate, like, oh, rock on and atta girl and, virtual high five and all that kind of stuff, because it felt so good to really focus and actually celebrate and see visually all the stuff that I completed. So that really helped to kind of get rid of some of the frustration and the overwhelm, along with, as I mentioned earlier, making sure that you're keeping your list really tight and focused on your top priorities and not just like putting all kinds of things on your list. All right, and the fourth thing that I want to share with you today, the fourth and final thing that I sort of experienced and the fix that I had for it was that I focused way too much on what I felt before or during the task that I was sort of dreading instead of what I was going to feel afterwards. So I focused so much on like, this task's gonna take up so much energy or so much time, or I don't know where to start, or I feel super overwhelmed, or when am I gonna have time for this? And it just became something that I almost like talked myself out of before I ever even got started. Because as you can tell, I was focused so much on how I felt in that moment before doing the task, or I was focused on how I was going to feel while I was doing the task, which was maybe overwhelmed or incompetent, especially if it was something new that I was doing and I didn't necessarily know how to do or felt really skilled at doing. And so my fix for that was to really, really focus and actually take a moment just to sort of visualize and imagine, like, how amazing is this going to feel when I'm done, when I can move this task over to my done list. And so that felt so good to really, and motivating to really change my focus from the before and the during more to the how I was going to feel when it was done. Not if I got it done, but when I got it done, because language is also so important here. All right, so I'm hopeful that these tips really help you in being able to shed this procrastination and really fix some of these challenges that maybe you've been running into regarding procrastination. And again, know that this is a journey. And so some days for me, as it probably will be for you, some days might be a little bit easier in regards to this, and some days might be more of a challenge. So it's important just to, kind of forgive yourself for those days that are more rough, that you do procrastinate, and just move on. And really, look at, okay, how can I set this up a little bit differently tomorrow or the next time so that I can be a little bit more focused and successful in regards to ending my procrastination. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to grab those productivity templates that I mentioned earlier, and hopefully you can find them in the comments below. If not, email me at laura@alberswellness.com, and I'm more than happy to share those with you. They've been a game changer for me for boosting my productivity and keeping my focus and my productivity on my top goals and being able to really stick with them week after week, day after day, week after week, year after year. All right. And so for more self-care, bite-sized self-care videos and health and wellness tips and things like that, check out the IAWP, the International Association of Wellness Professionals. That's who I got my master coaching certification through. They are amazing and they have these amazing helpful videos on YouTube. So check out their YouTube channel, their wellness channel. You can see those in the link below, or you can also go to my my website at www.alberswellness.com, and you can see how to get to their channel. You can also see other videos that I posted about all things health and wellness. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Please share this with anyone who you know who might be struggling with procrastination. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye for now.